Βρίσκομαι δίπλα σε έναν γενναίο ήρωα, ο κύριος Leslie Howard Manning, ο οποίος είναι ήδη 103 ετών και το καιρό εκείνο, το 1940-41, ευρέθηκε στο όμορφο νησί της Κρήτης και δίπλα στα γενναία παιδιά αυτά, τους Κρητικούς, μικροί και μεγάλοι, στάθηκε δίπλα τους για τη μάχη της Κρήτης. We are privileged to have with us today at the age of 103 one of the war veterans, the Anzacs, the true Anzacs, one of the living legends, Mr. Howard Leslie Manning, who at the age of 103 has a few war stories to tell, especially his time on that beautiful island of Crete. And for a lot of us, unbeknown, also a prisoner of war. Sir, it's an absolute honour and pleasure to have you on our show. For all the Greeks worldwide to hear those kind and loving words as you share those stories that you had amongst the Cretan people in Crete. What was the experience back then with the Cretans?
Well, for the people, they were marvellous. They risked their lives for us, and we'll never, ever forget what they done for us, especially the chaps that lived on the island. 2 years and 18 months, and the little children used to come and feed them of a daytime. They wouldn't come near the houses because of the reprisals, and that's how they survived. There was a fellow there, Bill Lidgerwood, from our company. He lived there for 2 years. Another fellow was there for 18 months. I think he was from another battalion. And they never had much food themselves, but at one stage there, this fellow of ours, he went into this room and there was a table there with a little bit of food on it, and they set the little chaps away at the little girl, and they gave it to the Aussies. They had nothing themselves.
What are the some of the war stories, I guess, of that era? How did you find the Battle of Crete?
How do I find it? It was a disaster, really, but not for a while, because there's a fellow that, by the name of Student, he was in charge of the parachutists, and I think that he was told that you just land there and the island is yours. Well, they landed in amongst the 2nd 4th, the 2nd 7th and the 2nd 11th and the Kiwis, and we frightened the hell out of them and belted the hell out of them.
Now, you were based in Melopotamos, is that correct?
In Georgiopolis, it was.
Georgiopolis, yep. Part of Crete, στη Κρήτη.
Yeah. And of course, they were too strong for us and they pushed us back. We had to go over White Mountain to a place called Sparkia, and there were a couple of ships there. Now, a colonel got onto one of the boats, and they were told that there would be no more ships coming in, so our colonel got off and he stayed with us. And he said to her, "You can stay with me, boys, or you can make to the hills." So we took off to the hills, and we lived in a cave there the first night. There was about 16 or 17 of us there. And the next day I was on the side of a mountain with 2 other fellows, Georgie Bunting and Sandy Herrick, and I saw this boat coming in. And I said to Sandy, "Well, what say we go down?" And they just looked like a couple of Aussies. So I trotted down, and this fellow, he patted me on the shirt, and I said, "I've got no cigarettes." And he pulled out a Luger and stuck it in my stomach. And I thought, well, what a stupid thing that I'd done, you know, and I just laughed. these fellas, they were very young. I think they were Austrians, and they treated me all right. And they went into a little building there, and they were there for a couple of minutes, and I said to Sandy, I think we'll make a bolt, and nick off. And as I said that, one of them came to the door with the machine gun and waved at us. We were having a feed of mulberries on the tree. Oh. We were starving, and we must have been a bit of a mess. Anyhow, he waved us down, and he took us about a mile and a half away to a place called Skeens, and there were about 2,000 Aussies there that were prisoners. So that was the end of. They took us back to Athens. They put us in cattle trucks. There was about 50 men to a cattle truck. There was no sanitation, no food, and the journey was for 7 days to a good place called.
So that was during the time of prisoner of war, is that correct?
Yeah. This place was called Holzberg Hof.
Okay.
It was also known as Tower Bischofsheim. And we were locked up in there, and I decided that I'd try and get out and get some bread. So I got out, but I never thought about when I did get out how I was going to get back in. Fortunately, there was a hasp on the door. I got 2 loaves of bread. On the way down, there was a German shepherd there, barking his head off. This German came to the door and said something to him, and he told him to shut up, I think. And I thought, this is hitting me. On this parapet, it was freezing cold. Anyhow, I went down and I got a couple of loaves of bread. And I got back to the fellas, and by this time they knew something was happening, and I told this mate of mine that to be very, very careful because of this dog. Anyhow, they all went out, and they took all the bread, and the next morning there was all hell to place. They wanted to know how did they get that bread? How did they get out of that building? And
everybody wanted a piece of the bread at the time.
Anyhow, they questioned us for hours. Then we went to work, and when we came back that night, they stood us again for a couple of hours. They stood us outside in the cold, and of course nobody would say how they got out. So that was the end of that. That was the first of the. Then I started working on a railway line.
Oh, okay. That was in Greece?
That was in Germany.
Oh, Germany. They took you there, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, they took us to a place called Hammelburg. And then they took the fellows out, and farmers came along and inspected them. And I don't know that they thought they were going to find any big, strong Aussies. They were feeling their legs and their arms to see us. But they were all pretty weak by this time. And the other farmers picked some of the fellows out. They went and worked on the farms. I told them I was a baker, but I only lasted in the bakehouse for about 1 night.
Is that because you were eating all the bread?
No. And I went and worked on the railway line then. And I worked on that railway line until the Yanks arrived in 1945. Patton's mob came through, and Patton looked after us, these troops. They took us through to France, and then we flew across to England, a place called High Wycombe, and then from High Wycombe we were taken to another place in England. It was called Gowrie House, and there must have been a couple of thousand fellas there by that time. And I was sitting in the dentist's chair, and this girl came in. She said, "How are you, soldier?" She was visiting a lot of the fellas that were sick.
Okay, yep.
And I said, oh, I'm all right. I said, who was that sailor? They said, that was the Duchess of Kent. Oh. So I would have said, that's rather nice here, wouldn't it?
Tell me, just a reflection, when you were, how long did you serve on the island of Crete?
Oh, we were there not very long. We were at Georgiopolis for maybe a couple of weeks. And on the 27th, that's when the parachutists laid down.
That were the German parachutists?
The German parachutists.
Yeah,
and that was called 42nd Street.
Okay.
And
So did you find that during that time when you were serving on the island of Crete, that did the locals get you involved with a lot of their good local produce or food? But you said earlier on there was no food to be given out.
they had to be very careful that they couldn't be seen giving us any food at all. There'd be reprisals if they found anybody that was helping any other prisoners. So, Did
you try your luck on the raki, which is known in English as moonshine? Because the Cretans love drinking raki.
No, I didn't even get it. I didn't even get any of that.
No?
No, I didn't get anything.
Have you been back to Crete, sir?
No, I haven't. My daughter has. But I would have loved to go back, but I'm too old now to go back.
What would you like to say to all your comrades out there who are still living, who are probably watching us on the other side of the world in Crete?
Yes, I'd like to say that you're a marvellous lot of people, and we'll never ever forget you for what you've done for us.
There's a very close bond between the island of Crete and the Anzacs, that
Yes.
may the truth be told.
Yes, there is. It'll always remain. They're marvellous.
And the geographics of the island, how did you find the geographics? A lot of rock, a lot of mountain?
Yeah, well, we had no idea. We knew that we were in Georgiopolis, but there were places that I hadn't heard of when the Colonel wrote a book called The Fiery Phoenix, and he seemed to know all these spots where we were at, and it was all, I never had a clue where these places were. And
Yeah, they did most of the chaps who went there, I'm sure.
yeah. It's all I know that we were there, and the attack, and they pushed us back. We went over the White Mountain. It took us a few hours to get over White Mountain, and we got down to Skeens, and the ships, we got onto the Costa Rica. I forgot to mention that. And that was bombed. We were about 60 miles past Crete, and the order came through to the Navy. Don't bring the troops to Alexandria, turn them back and take them to Crete. So that was that.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
So I just want to say, on behalf of all the viewers, on behalf of all the Greeks worldwide, the Cretans, the Battle of Crete, the 74th year commemoration of the Battle of Crete, I just want to say that we salute you, we salute the diggers of yesterday, we salute the diggers of today, and it's an absolute honour to have had the pleasure of meeting you and sharing this wonderful and humble story on behalf of your family and your loved ones.
Well, I salute them too. The marvelous people.
Θα ήθελα να πω ότι φτάσαμε στο τέλος της απόψινής μας εκπομπής. Δεν υπάρχουν λόγια να περιγράψω το πώς αισθάνομαι. Μεγάλη τιμή να έχουμε τέτοιους ανθρώπους δίπλα μας, να μας λένε αυτοί με το δικό τους τρόπο, τα δικά τους λόγια, Γιατί η αλήθεια είναι ότι αγαπάμε τους Κρητικούς, αλλά και αυτοί αγαπάνε τους αδερφούς, τους Αυστραλούς, οι γενναίοι ήρωες της εποχής τότες, στο δεύτερο παγκόσμιο πόλεμο. That was good. That was good. Got a bit emotional myself at the end.
Yeah.
Big words that were taught to you back then. Would you like to share them with our viewers?
The only three words that I knew was Calamera,
Good morning.
Calispera,
Well, good afternoon.
and Calanecta.
Which is good night.
I also asked a chap on the island, a Greek, I said, is there any chance of getting a boat? Do you know where there's a boat anywhere? And he said to me, you've got as much hope. He spoke very good English. He said, you've got as much hope as there is with the Queen Mary coming along. I said, thanks, George. We call them all George.
Yeah, everybody's a George in Crete.
Yeah,
You tell them that everybody's a George. Yorgos.
that's right.
Yorgos.
Yeah.
Well, what about you say Filakia and blow to all your Cretan family and friends out there a wonderful kiss. Filakia.
Good on you, fellas.